Well, I wanted to point out, I don't know if everybody's seen this yet, but this is a rendering of if you were standing right here at Merced Street, you could see the building right across the way there. So if you're looking southbound, this is what the 28-foot sidewalk side would look like after the street project goes in. So you can see the wide sidewalk, double row of trees. These are the light standard that we are putting in. It's very unique, special to this project. You can see the bike racks there, trash cans. So everything is designed to be special to Fulton Street. It's unique to this area. It's designed to work together and to capture as much of the historic design as possible, but introducing the new features as much as possible as well. So all the lighting is going to be LED. I mentioned the lighting levels are going to be a lot higher. There's a lot of the new lighting going in. Is there any questions on kind of what it's going to look like?
Yeah, I have a question. Every tree that we see with leaves stays. Every tree without leaves is on its way out.
So they all should have a fence around them. So that's the protection. Those are the ones that are all going to stay.
We saved a lot of Chinese elms, I understand. Now we're able to stick with that.
Yeah.
Those two.
That's the majority of the ones that we're saving are Chinese.
And there were a majority of them were on one side, conveniently enough. So
Right.
that's really what determined the 28. Which side got the 28
Okay,
feet?
yeah, those are great trees.
So tell us a story about a CVS basement, Grandpa.
So you can't see it anymore, but the CVS building here had, and this is one that we knew about before going to construction, had an existing basement that was 14 feet out, 12 to 14 feet out from the building face, wrapped all the way around the edge of CVS. But it wasn't from CVS, it was from the building before CVS. And when they demolished the old building, they left the basement in place because they didn't want to disturb the mall. And so they left the entire structure, so the roof slab, all the girders, and it was about 10 feet deep, 12 to 14 feet out, and it wrapped all the way around the building. At this corner over here, they actually they incorporated part of the CVS's foundation into that basement structure. So the whole plan, we knew about it before going to construction. The plan was to abandon that basement properly, so remove the structure, cut the walls down, make sure that it doesn't hold water, so perforate the bottom. That was the plan going into it. But once we started to demolish it, we noticed that it was so close to CVS, we didn't want to damage the building, the existing building. So we had to get our structural engineers out here to evaluate it. And so it caused a little bit of delay, just kind of working around it. Contractor was able to move to different areas to work while we figured it out, but it was much more challenging than what we originally thought. But it's done now. We were able to remove the structure. You can see it's gone. There was a big hole here a few weeks ago, but it's been backfilled with slurry, backfilled with dirt above that, so that we can get our proposed improvements in there on top of it.
What was the old building?
It was Montgomery Ward at one point, and it was originally the Roos Brothers building. That was the original building, and then Montgomery Ward took it over.
Were they still using the basement?
CVS? No, it wasn't connected at all.
There was no access.
No access.
And when you looked on this corner, it basically looked like there was one concrete wall holding up the whole corner of the building.
Yeah.
It looked, I'm not an engineer in any way. I couldn't even have an erector set when I was a kid, but I mean, you just looked at it and went, holy mackerel, this is pretty sketchy.
Yep.
And you found another basement right here just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah. So there was a basement coming off the beginning of the parking lot here that went out. It was really small, not nearly the size of that one. I want to say it was like 8 feet deep and like 7 feet wide. Went all the way back, and this one, luckily they had a retaining wall at the property line or at the edge of right of way. And so when they demolished the building before that it was connected to. They built the retaining wall, but they left this void. So it had brick walls, and it was just an empty structure underneath the mall. So we took care of that one. That one was easy to deal with. We were able to abandon it, luckily, because it had the retaining wall at the property line. That's one thing about the CVS one. It didn't have a retaining wall, so it was just dirt. So if we dug down deeper, we had the potential of undermining the building, and we didn't want to do that. So that's why we had to look at it.
Is there still a basement under there? Under the middle of it?
Yeah, that looks
No, CVS doesn't have a basement at all.
So it's just the sides of it is where it was.
Yeah, it was just the only thing that was left was the part that was in
see, okay.
underneath the mall.
Right.
So you can see the fountain that had the visit that was over here on the, what would be our left side right now, is being rebuilt on the right side. I mean, how would you describe where that is? Where those black?
Yeah, you see some of the new piping coming up. So let's see, we can. Oh, thank you. Block one. So if anybody wants to look here, it's this long, meandering fountain.
That's nice. And it has like a stream.
And then, so one thing with the fountains, we are reconstructing 16 of the existing fountains, but many of them are scaled down, so they're going to look exactly the same, but they're scaled down a little bit to fit in the streetscape. This is one of the ones that had to be scaled down a little bit, but it's still, as you can see, it's still a very large fountain. It's not the largest. Once we get down to the spiral garage, we'll be able to see the largest one pretty clearly. But yeah, it'll meander right there, and it'll have the artwork reinstalled, so it'll look very similar. It'll also have some of the clay pipes that were originally there. Very similar to the original.
And when will all this be done, I think?
So the proposed completion date right now is, or estimated completion date is May of 2017.
Wow, that's
Yep. The total contract is 13 months. And right now we're still on schedule, working with the contractor to make sure that things like CVS, that we're able to keep them working and stay on schedule.
So this is where the sewer line will go, Randall?
Yeah.
That app that you can kind of take a virtual tour of the art of the Fulton Mall, does that include all the water
It
kind
doesn't
of
go
ways
into the
and
water
stuff?
features.
Doesn't
It just
go
goes
into
into
that.
all of our.
It can though. I mean, anything could be added to it.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to represent the San Joaquin River? That's what I had heard.
Well, yeah, the one that was out in front of the Patterson building was supposed to be like from Sierras down to the valley floor kind of a thing.
A lot of the design features, I guess it depends who you talk to, but a lot of them are supposed to replicate different things in the valley. Even the banding, the concrete banding, is supposed to represent
Right.
different areas of the valley floor.
That app, is that also true for the architecture or just the art?
You mean the architecture of the
Of the
landscape?
Fulton Mall? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can add all that on in different layers to the app. They're just kind of, they started with Art Hop, and then they're adding the art, and now they're adding some of the, like I said, business stuff like evening restaurants and bars and things like that to kind of promote the nightlife. But then they'll do the mall history. I would imagine they'd add the building history. It's something that can continue to grow and evolve.
There's also a plan that we're exploring. Before we started, there's what's called LiDAR survey. So it's rather than your typical topographic survey, it's done with a LiDAR unit that takes, like, I don't know what the ratio is, but millions of points. So it captures a lot of data. And with that, you could incorporate it into like a GPS program. So you eventually, plan is to be able to stand here on the new Fulton Street and be able to see what the old Fulton Mall looked like through the app. And so that would incorporate a lot of the architecture.
All right, well, let's walk down to.
Thank you. Sure.
Where should we go? All the way down to the middle? We've got plenty of time.